Crossroads, as many people know, exists mainly to help the poor. If a person is hungry, they can come to Crossroads Urban Center. If there's food on the pantry, they can get it.
They just come in and say they're in the need, and we give them food for the number of people that they have proof that they have in their household.
I came in as a single parent with 3 kids, and you feel so grateful and you cry and just say, because you didn't think nobody could help you, it kind of make me cry now.
The one I will never forget, and it's the largest order we've ever had, I think, in there. A man came in, and when we figured it out, he had 18 children, and he and his wife, they wanted food for 20 people. I said, well, how did you get such a large family? He said, well, my wife died, and this lady's husband died, and we combined our 2 families. We both work, but we just can't make it. And he said, we heard about Crossroads, and said, and we heard that, you don't ask a lot of questions. You help anybody who needs some food.
I was flown from Washington after my car accident to have back surgery, and after I had the surgery, I was discharged to the shelter, and I didn't want to be there. Now this place has helped me today with bus tokens and food and clothing for my job interviews, and with some household items, which I didn't have, and helped me get back on my feet. They didn't just help me with what I asked. They informed me of a lot of other solutions to my problems that I have in this situation, so I feel a lot better. I feel pretty happy.
In Salt Lake City, Utah, there is an organization like no other in its effective capacity to serve the poor and disenfranchised members of our community.
Sometimes I think of Crossroads in 3 parts: direct services, community organizing and advocacy, and self-sufficiency.
What brought me to Crossroads is it's a very well-known agency that's very reliable, it's effective, and we send our clients from Holy Cross Ministries, we have sent our clients there. And for me, Crossroads is one of the top agencies.
I see a lot of needs on a weekly basis. People coming to the church needing money to pay their bills, needing food on the table. And places like Crossroads can help with that in those crisis situations.
Through direct services, Crossroads Urban Center is an oasis of support for those in need, providing immediate assistance to those with nowhere else to turn.
It's really hard for families to make ends meet. Daycare, healthcare, utilities, rent, all of those things are high and continuing to go up. And at every season, including the holiday season, there are families that need help. They're not going to be able to pay everything and still have what they need for food.
So I guess we'd say we're the helpers of the poor.
We help people with food, that's our main thing, but we also do a lot of other things. We do give bus tokens out twice a week. We can help people with a prescription voucher once a year for up to $40, which is not much, but that's the budget I have. We can help a family once a year with a gas voucher for up to $10, which is very little, but again, that's my budget. We have a little thrift store where we can give out household items, clothing, baby stuff. So most of the things we get there donated, we actually give away.
Feeding hungry people is just the beginning of the work of Crossroads Urban Center. They labor on the behalf of those in need to advocate proactive changes to an inadequate system.
Crossroads Urban Center is at the forefront of advocacy for poor people, the working poor and homeless in our community. We need that advocacy here in Salt Lake City, and we need the funding for it.
Through our direct services, the giving away of food, the giving away of clothing, we're able to listen to the concerns and issues of the people. They're free with their outcry when there are problems. Because of this, we are able to gather that information, and we have the resources and the ability and the will to take it to the legislature or wherever it has to go so that their voices can be heard.
We also try to serve sometimes as a conscience of those people who may or may not want to help the poor. And we try often to do it in a variety of ways. We have some people whose main job is to try to get the legislature to do the right thing.
If you are really going to help people get out of poverty, it's great to give them coats and shoes and food right now. But if you don't take the sales tax off food, if you don't work on getting low-income housing built, if you don't work on what is wrong with the system, then I feel that you are not fully serving the people that you say that you're trying to help. So you really need to do it on both levels.
The success of advocacy supported by Crossroads was apparent during a recent Utah legislative session.
I was asked to take part in this service of Thanksgiving for the health care measures that were passed recently, and we wanted to make sure that the presence of Crossroads was still felt.
Crossroads was also instrumental in getting the basic dental and vision services back into the Medicaid program, and they worked very hard on that. What I appreciate about them is that they also include the clients. When we have the demonstrations or the rallies at the state capitol, they include the clients, who are the ones who are affected by these cutbacks.
Crossroads is a really rare kind of place. They've always had a balance between direct services, between giving somebody something they can use right now, and working on the root causes of hunger and poverty, usually through advocacy or community organizing.
Helping those in need directly and through advocacy takes time, effort, and talent. Crossroads Urban Center coordinates hundreds of volunteers to continue to help people and instigate change every day.
This is the Crossroads Urban Center Christmas Dinner Giveaway. It's the 11th year we've hosted it here at Roland Hall St. Mark's School, and I coordinate that event along with Glenn Bailey, the Executive Director at Crossroads Urban Center. We had volunteers starting last week to set up all the food bags and finished them up yesterday, and then we have 100 or so volunteers today to make it all happen.
I do it because of the gratitude, just because people come up and say Merry Christmas or thank you or you know, just whatever. It makes me feel happy inside, like I've done something for someone, when all I've really done is handed them a turkey.
Being on the board at Crossroads has just amazed me at, one, how well organized the place is for relying so much on volunteer help, and that with such little financial involvement for covering overheads, for salaries for the establishment or for the individuals that we do have to hire there, how much of everything that we generate goes right back to the community.
To help out someone else in a way that you would want to be helped if you were in that situation. And certainly with an attitude that you might very well one day be in that situation, and not with a way that I'm somehow flying in as a savior to help these poor wretches. This is my brother, this is my sister, and they're in need.
Due to direct service that feeds people, advocacy that lobbies for change, and volunteers assuring huge returns for every dollar invested, Crossroads is effecting positive advances in this community.
Our philosophy has been to increase the resources available in the community and move on and do something else, and always keep our work fresh, while still maintaining our commitment to run the best emergency food pantry, the best thrift store, so that those core functions are at a high level, even as we seek to do the things that seem to be done, need to be done the most at the time.
The lasting legacy of Crossroads Urban Center comes through the many programs conceived and nurtured here until they are able to survive on their own.
Crossroads has always had a knack for seeing where the holes in the system are and coming up with ways to fill the holes. I mean, Wasatch Community Gardens started here. The idea for the homeless shelter started here. For the food bank started here. Disabled Rights Action Committee started here. In 10 years, people won't know that the food co-op started here. That is a Crossroads project. It'll be its own entity with its own board, its own building, its own place and budget. So we're kind of the idea people that come up with it. But once we spin the co-op off, if we have the finances, then we can say, this is what we can do.
With new financial support strengthening the foundation of Crossroads Urban Center, the sky becomes the limit in building a bright future for those in need in Salt Lake City.
We operate on such a small but attractive administrative margin that it's hard for people to say that Crossroads would squander the money. And if you get down in the trenches with us, you'll find that we have not just a staff, but volunteers who work very hard to try to make a better life from a lot of the people in this community. We could simply do a better job if people knew about us, appreciated us, and gave of their time and finances to support Crossroads Urban Center.
I think Crossroads Urban Center is an important place to fund for a number of reasons. The first is that we are the only emergency food pantry in Salt Lake County that's open all day, every day during the week. We're a thrift store that believes in giving away much more than we sell. The reason that I always loved being here and giving money here is that I knew that every dollar would be leveraged to the max. This space is donated. There's no rent. All the furniture is donated. The coffee maker's donated. We have somebody who comes in and donates fair trade coffee to us. We have, so many things that are donated, and so all the money that we get in donations really goes to the basics of keeping the lights on, keeping the water on, and providing direct service programs for the clients. Right now we have limits on how many bus tokens you can get. We have a dollar limit on the prescription vouchers. We have a dollar limit on the gas vouchers.
And I think those are the three things that are crucial: time, money, intangible goods.
In a time when problems are abundant and solutions are hard to find, Crossroads Urban Center quietly and effectively goes about its business, serving people.
It could be me, it could be you, and you would want your family to help you if you were in that kind of a situation. Well, we're the family at this point. We're not the only family, but we're very focused on being the ones that if there is ultimate need, that we can either direct people where they have to go, get them the help they kind of need, or hand them the kind of things specifically that we can do. The buck stops here.
Within the meals they serve, the laws they change, and the volunteers that help make things happen, a rare and valuable sense of community is found.
Every time I'm here, somebody's laughing about, not their situation, but they're laughing about some jokes, or you're talking to them and you're having a good time, and something about that helps you remember and helps them remember that they aren't defined by their problem, that they're not defined by the fact that they're coming to get some help.
Despite being underfunded and stretched beyond their limits, Crossroads still strives to change people's lives.
And when people start asking around and looking and learning, that's when you have the chance to change their hearts, which is what will change their minds. And that's what you have to do.
For more information on how you can assist Crossroads Urban Center in its fight to help improve lives, please visit www.crossroads-u-c.org or call 801-364-7765.